Hi, my name is Jay Mastin, Stonebridge Community Trust, and it's the 14th of December, 2021. Just thought I'd give you a summary of the first day's hearing. I'm still at the offices of our lawyers. We took part in the case. I took part in the case from our lawyer's office, so we can give input to the case as required. Just to summarise for you, firstly, I just wanted to thank the community for their support, thank the number of people for joining the case and listening to what was being said and how orderly everything was. Just to summarise the case, there was Appellant 1 Leonard Johnson, Appellant 2 Stonebridge Community Trust, and the respondent, which was Brent Council, and essentially the arguments. Yes, essentially the arguments, there were two arguments. A bit of background before I give you the summary of the day. Appellant 1 Leonard Johnson had, and Hogan Lovells and Garden Court and Michael Furness QC had a range of arguments that they wanted to put forward, having lost the trial on a number of arguments that varied from our original arguments that we put forward. They wanted to place new arguments that we believed were not going to be accepted by the court and would exactly throw out the community's argument. And nobody would listen to us. And so I had no choice but to agree to get our own counsel, because I believed so strongly that the arguments that they were making would not survive and would be thrown out by the court. And essentially our community's arguments, the whole argument would never be placed before the court, and our community would lose the opportunity to fight for our asset here. So I had to make the choice, or we had to make the choice, the Stonebridge Community Trust and BPCC steering group had to make the choice that we would go and find our own barristers and our own solicitors, and I personally would have to place the arguments before the court that our in-house legal team put together until we found a barrister. So we really stayed consistent with the original arguments and skeletons that were put into the appeal, so that it would allow, when we found a barrister, for that barrister to use those arguments to expand on and make some supplementary arguments. We appealed to Appellant 1, that's Hogan Lovells, and Garden Court, Stephen Cottle, and Michael Furness QC to speak with us on those arguments, at least so that we could synchronise. But Appellant 1, Leonard Johnson, denied instructing them that they weren't to synchronise arguments with us or weren't to work with us, even though we said to them that, look, we've got a very experienced QC, and my instincts were that their arguments would not survive and would not be accepted by the court to go on. And when we got a barrister, he agreed with me, so we really tried to appeal to Leonard and them that the community would lose all aspect of fighting this if they continued on their access. Unfortunately, they did so. They refused to synchronise with us or speak with us under the instruction of Appellant 1, and their argument was thrown out straight away as they entered it into court as having no grounds in law in terms of the rules of this appeal, and they unfortunately could take no further part into the court. It was just fortunate that we had kept to the original argument, and we had our range of arguments, that the case was able to go on, because had not, the case would have been finished within the first hour of the appeal, because they weren't able to carry on and everything got thrown out. So I just really want to thank the community for supporting us, because many people were just telling us, just side with Leonard, and I was explaining to them that legal argument that Leonard was making was against us and would actually be thrown out, and the community would lose the chance to fight for this legacy. And if we hadn't gone separately and continued to be consistent with our original arguments, we would have all been just thrown out, and the community's argument would have never been heard. Those of you who've attended the case remotely and can listen to it, it would be interesting to see what you've got to say, because I believe that we've really got a very good QC, highly experienced, that's Peter Crampin, and he was able to take on the 3 judges and Catherine Holland and really put up a good case for the community, and he continues to do so, and it will continue tomorrow on the 15th. So we've stayed in, we've managed to make our arguments and be allowed to at least put forward a case for the community and have that heard. And I do hope the community can support us. What does that mean legally? It now means Appellant 1 has no further input in the case because their arguments couldn't stand in law and therefore it was thrown out. And as they lost the trial, remember this is an appeal to try to recover the trial. As they lost the trial, the Borough Park was lost. It was only the appeal that we put in jointly that why we're getting a second hearing. So this is effectively our last opportunity. So we could not leave it. I could not leave it any further. I had to make sure the community was heard. So I hope you can support Stonebridge Community Trust and recognise now that we were right in trying to continue the legal argument, which we understood. We were right in trying to put a separate argument. We were right in trying to approach Leonard and them to synchronise with our argument and try to work together for the saving of the community. It's not about any individual. I myself, it's not about me. I'm only the spokesman. Behind the scenes, there's 3 of us putting an internal legal team fighting this and putting together the case. And we only had instructed a barrister 2 weeks ago, and we put this case back in March, and then in August we've submitted arguments and what have you. So we've had to be fighting this case, just 3 of us as litigants in person, and we appointed a solicitor, Colin, DW Axiom, and a barrister just recently, and they've done well for us and they've argued the case and at the highest level. So I just really wanted to thank you all, and I wanted to let you know that we continue to do this and it starts again tomorrow. Thank you very much, Jay Mastin, Stonebridge Community Trust, and we continue to fight and push forward for a positive outcome to this. Unfortunately, Appellant 1 can take no further part in this case. It's just costs have been awarded against them, and that's to be determined at the end of the trial. We ourselves hold out with Leonard and them, the HPCC in 1982, and Leonard and them, they're great people and they've done a marvellous job. And the reason why I'm here is because I do believe in them, I believe in their greatness. So do not in any way take this. I'm not self-aggrandizing. I believe they've done a great job, and it's only through their work why we're here able to fight for this building. But it's not about any individual. It is now about trying to save it, present the legal arguments that can survive in court to save this building and the land and building for our community and a legacy for the African and Caribbean people. Thank you very much. Good evening, Jay. Bye-bye.